Welcome back to another edition of the worst podcast I've ever heard, and we are back here again with the original crew. I'm sure we'll get a guest again on at some point, but this week we're sticking to the basics. We got No Tweet Ryan here.
Hello.
And we the Piefko.
Hello.
Sorry, I put a little more in his name than you, Ryan.
I like the emphasis on that name, so some good stuff right there.
Get it right.
Yeah, we have a butt ton of news. I thought I'd throw that in there to get to, so I guess we'll just dive right into it.
Well, before we get started with that, that's
kind of important. Take a little business.
Yes, so a little housekeeping, if you will. So basically,
housekeeping.
You're gonna do the whole bit where you knock on the door and like housekeeping. Anyway,
housekeeping.
I think I figured out how to get this on iTunes. So if you're a guy like Stevie Breach,
first of all, we are on iTunes now, so let's go ahead and break that.
Exciting.
I think so.
Exciting.
I think
isn't that great, gang? We're legit.
Once this one goes up, then I'll be more excited because then I know that it will work. But,
all right.
Yeah, shout out to Stevie Breach because I know for a fact he listened to it on iTunes.
Woo!
And he was.
I don't know what he was listening to, but I know he listened to it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, that's a shout out to him. I know he listened to this in his car right now, but basically, I think I found a way to figure it out to get this on iTunes, and basically all the new episodes will be on iTunes. So if you want to listen to it in your car or on your headphones or not on your computer, you can do that. And the archives, if you want to listen to an old show for some reason, why would you want to listen to an old show? But if you want to listen to an old show, they're on YouTube, youtube.com/WeThePiwko. Go check out the archive if you want to listen that way. But yeah, so as long as it all works out.
My thing is, if people get their first taste of our podcast through iTunes and they want to go back and catch up, then of course you can go to youtube.com/WeThePico. But yeah, our goal is to have the 2 newest episodes every week on iTunes. Of course, the man behind it all, Mr. Pico, is going to fidget around with the technology and make sure that happens. But you can catch episodes 14 and 15. Well, shit. Maybe 15 and 16 now.
We'll figure it out. Basically, if you're listening to us on iTunes, I did something right. It's basically pushing a bunch of buttons. Like, you're just playing with a bunch of buttons and trying to put it all together. Like the game Mousetrap. If you didn't want to play the game how it's supposed to be played and you just put all the pieces together and then you try to figure it all out, that's basically what I'm doing. Let's get the rest of it.
I'm not going to complain because Mike's the one that does all the stuff. All Luke and I do is talk and tweet,
which is totally the opposite of what I planned when I started when I started this. I thought it was going to be the other way around, and then Ryan, had his whole situation with his internet problems. So I'm throwing him under the bus there. But okay,
I do stuff.
Luke's got the list.
Good editing job with the Gemini episode, but
that I deserve some sort of podcast Emmy or whatever they have. Anywho, enough housekeeping. Let's get into the wrestling. We got, a ton of wrestling news here. The Undertaker has joined Twitter. Did you ever think that we would hear those words out of anyone's mouth? Well,
I want to know how they're gonna play it off, because it's like, well, if they're gonna play it with character, what's Twitter reception in hell like?
Oh my God.
Or no, Death Valley, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, might as well be hell, right? So, I was lucky enough to see him. I think 30 minutes after he opened his account. No, actually, that's not true. 30 minutes after he plugged it on his Instagram, I went over there. It was like 3:30 in the morning my time.
Excuse me.
And I
plugged it on his Instagram.
He plugged it on his Instagram, and I raced. Yes, and go follow him there. I raced over to Twitter. He had like 3,000 followers, so I followed him and tweeted him right away in hopes that he would like my tweet. And sure enough, he did. And if you go to his likes, he's got 17 likes, and I'm one of them. I got to brag about it. Sorry.
So why didn't he get at Undertaker on Twitter? It doesn't make sense.
Well, there's always been this long-standing debate. Is it Undertaker or The Undertaker, right?
True.
Like The Big Show or Big Show. No one really knows.
I don't know.
Right, Ryan?
I enjoyed the fact, though, that you emphasized that it was 3:30 in the morning and you saw it on his Instagram. It makes me wonder, do you have his Instagram post notifications on? Who is casually roaming
no,
on The Undertaker's
it was on his
Instagram?
Story. He had a story up, and it said, swipe up for my Twitter. I'm like, what?
He's taking bookings, too.
So I raced over there and
we can get him booked on the show because he's got an email we can email and see.
He has an email?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He's accepting bookings.
No way.
Leave the memories alone.
Shooting him an email after this.
So, anyway, go follow The Undertaker because he has, I think, only 30,000 followers.
Oh my
so
God.
Please. I don't know why. Like I saw who I was following, who was following him, and not a lot of people. I'm going like, why the hell isn't anyone?
I don't need to follow The Undertaker. If I need something
Well,
good,
why
then
not?
You'll retweet it. I don't know. It's when I don't follow a lot of wrestlers. I follow like maybe a handful of wrestlers, so it's not really that big of a deal to me.
Well, as of this recording, he hasn't tweeted in 4 days because I think his beloved Cowboys lost, so he's upset.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, poor guy.
Anyway, let's get into more important news. Not that that's not important, but very newsworthy Monday Night Raw. Did either of you see a shred of it this past Monday?
No,
I did not.
Oh Christ! Do I have to carry this whole podcast?
Let me say this. Okay, there's just something about it that makes me not interested in even turning it on, and.
Well, me either, but we're in Mania season now, man.
Yeah, but Mania season doesn't start until the Rumble anyway. Everyone knows that. So once we get to the Rumble, then everything will be back to normal. I'll watch it every week, and whatever.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch it even after the Rumble. I'll probably watch the Rumble, but man, my interest has gone from barely anything to none at all with the product, with WWE's product.
When All Elite was announced. I got to the point where I was like, there's something else that I can, put all my attention to, even though they don't have a TV show yet or whatever.
There's always been something else, though, and that's what I'm saying. I got fed up, and I was watching it every week, and I got to the point where I was like, well, I mean, there's no point in me watching something that I don't enjoy.
Exactly.
I'm not going to watch a TV show that I just don't enjoy.
And I mean, that's not to say that the stuff that they're doing, there's probably some good stuff that we missed, for instance, today, because apparently it sounds like there was an event-worthy Raw that we missed. But I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those things.
Well, it was newsworthy. Event-worthy is debatable, but in the beginning you had Braun Strowman flipping Vince McMahon's limo over, which would have been impressive had they have not done that before. What was the last vehicle? It was like a cement truck, right?
Ambulance.
That was an ambulance, yeah.
Oh fuck! Didn't he? Wasn't there a
cement truck?
There was
a trash
dude,
truck.
Oh no! And then there was the porta potty he lifted over, and I don't know. And what really was stupid was the 17 cutaways during the lifting the limo. It's like, dude, you think we can't? Anyway,
they make it painfully obvious,
right? And Vince was so upset that he said, "Hey, guess what? You're out of the title match at the Royal Rumble. How do you like that?"
He said it that enthusiastically.
I was thinking though, Vince is acting, man. He's usually a pretty good actor, but his acting job on Monday was pretty horrid. But
he's getting old, man. He gets a pass.
Well, and from what I read, he doesn't even want to be on TV. He thinks that he brings in the ratings, so he feels like he has to be.
Obviously, he doesn't.
He used to. Now, because there used to be this trend, anytime the McMahons were on, the ratings would go up, so they still believe that. Not necessarily true.
But that was
I was going to say it. I remember in, 2006, 2007, even then, when the McMahons showed up, you wanted to see what was going on when he was feuding with Trump, when anything was going on, it was genuinely entertaining, and it still rang true when there was the draft and one of them would show up, or even when Shane returned, that was huge. But then now it's just same thing, different day.
Right. I mean, now when I saw Vince on Raw's past Monday, I'm like, I just don't really want to see him anymore. Especially if he doesn't care. If he doesn't care, I don't care. But a four-way was made. I'm forgetting the fourth guy, and I hate myself for this. It was Balor, Cena, Corbin, and I want to say Rollins. Was it?
I don't remember.
Oh, please, someone help me.
Yeah. Hold on.
All right. So as we're doing this, Luke, what'd you have for breakfast today?
What did I have? I can't remember breakfast.
Oh my god. Are you serious?
No, I had a protein cookie.
John Cena, Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Finn Balor.
Drew McIntyre.
Oh, you forgot Drew McIntyre, my current favorite guy.
No, he's so great. Well, they both got that wet black hair, so maybe, and the beard. So they're very much alike. Maybe that's why I got confused. But yeah, that was the 4-way and the number 1 contenders match for the Universal title at Royal Rumble against Lesnar. That was the main event later that night. But before that, you had Lashley winning the Intercontinental title from Rollins, which was a nice change.
That's big.
I
like it.
I think that means, okay, like, here's the thing, and this might lead us off into another path, but before yesterday, I couldn't think of who I wanted to win the Rumble. But then I thought, what about Seth Rollins? Let's have Seth Rollins win the Rumble.
That could be why. I didn't think of that.
That's my pick for the Rumble, Seth Rollins, just because I want him to win, and I think it makes sense. And for once, I'm going to have a pick that makes sense. No, last year I had a pick that made sense. Nakamura. I wanted Nakamura to win the Rumble. And there we go. So either Seth Rollins or Kevin Owens, because I pick Kevin Owens for everything. So one of those two.
Yeah, I think that kind of makes Rollins, for me, the favorite to win the Rumble. Because they had to get the title off of him somehow without making him look bad and still make him look like main event worthy. So that was like the only way I could see them doing it.
Well, yeah, and you have a big fucker like Lashley beating you up. That's not making you look weak at all. But this is his 3rd title, I want to say. He was only a former U.S. and ECW champion, so much needed. I mean, he's been on somewhat of a push anyway, but it was a nice change. I'm for Lashley being champion.
I would,
and if that does clear the way for Rollins. Also, a little sidetrack. I think Joe is going to be one of the final 4 in the Rumble match. The hot streak he's on right now, I can just see it.
With Lashley,
I feel like they kind of need him there.
Yeah. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
What I was saying was, with Lashley winning the title, I would like to see a John Cena versus Bobby Lashley for the Intercontinental Championship at Mania, just because I don't think Cena's won that title.
No, that'd be it, yeah.
So look at this, I'm booking things. That. Vince, when you're listening to this, just remember my name. Just write these things down, and you don't give me credit, but I'll know that I did it.
You don't have to remember his name. Moving on with Raw here, there was Now, I've been watching every week like you guys, so I guess Bliss has her own talk show segment while she's injured, and she had Paul Heyman on there, and she revealed the women's tag team titles, which are really nice, by the way. Better than the men's tag titles. Can you believe that?
Let me talk about these titles. These titles.
Oh, God. That was, like, very dramatic there, like Marlon Brando. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So, when I saw a quick screenshot of them on TV. And when I saw them, I was like, okay, these are... And then I refreshed and I saw a perfect screenshot, like the one that would be on WWE Shop or whatever. These things, 5 stars. 5 stars. Amazing.
I like them.
The design is awesome.
I think that's the first time you've said something positive about WWE design.
And I don't know how long. Yeah, about design, yeah.
Shout out to them for making
Ryan,
something
you like
good.
those belts or what?
Yeah, and I think overall it was bound to happen that they got a women's tag team championship kind of going anyways, and at least they put effort into it. But yeah, I think at least they started off good. At least they didn't give them some like real ugly, hey, it looks like we made this in 10 minutes kind of title, because honestly, if you would have told me beforehand that's what was going to happen, I would have expected that. Like I would have thought of something cheap. And
Sure.
I'm glad that they actually put effort into it, because it shows like, hey, we actually give a damn about it.
Now, what do you think about this? So, if you take away the Superstar tapings and you put in place an hour-long women's show, and it's just the women's matches, and then you kind of have, you have the women's TV show, you have 205 Live, and then you have Raw and Smackdown. What do you guys think about that?
Too many shows.
There's already too many titles, too many shows, too many hours, too much wrestling, too many wrestlers. It's already too much of everything. So, I don't know, man. But moving on. Well, Otis, I forget how to pronounce it. Doshevic? Is that how you say it?
Dojevich.
He came out and was so fucking funny. He was acting like Beavis from Beavis and Butthead. He was like, pretty lady, like trying to just go after Alexa Bliss.
Was he talking?
He randomly came out in the middle of Heyman and Bliss talking, and he just started staring at Alexa Bliss behind the tag titles. Maybe he thought those were the tag titles he was supposed to go after. I don't know. But he was hilarious. I'm all for heavy machinery. And no one else is, I guess.
I'm not the biggest heavy machinery fan. I thought, like, honestly, when it came out, like, I watched clips of it and I thought it was funny. But at the same time, I was like, this kind of just took a regular good segment, just made it really weird. Like, it took it from one extreme to the other really quick.
I saw a tweet that said that Otis represented, like, all the geeky wrestling fans approaching women's wrestlers.
That's 100% right.
Okay, so I want to talk about the main event of Raw and what it means.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Jeez, Pico.
But after that, I have breaking news that leads into other breaking news from earlier today. Sorry.
Well, you'll have your segment.
I just got the notification. Okay, go ahead.
No, wait. You have breaking news.
It's not. You're not going to think it's really good, so I'll leave it for later because it transitions into another thing. But yeah.
Oh, I thought you had some. Okay. Well, we'll get to the main event in a second, but no, actually, the main event's next.
There you go.
Sorry. No. You want to reveal the win? What were you going to say? Go ahead. You take over this.
No, it leads into.
It leads to after the main event, is what you're saying.
It leads into another topic that happened today.
Okay, so the Fatal 4-Way, that was the next worthy thing happening. That happened on Raw. And wouldn't you know it, Finn Balor won the match, and he will go on to face Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble for the Universal Championship. Supposedly, this was supposed to happen last Royal Rumble, and that's where Meltzer reported the infamous line that Vince thought Finn was not over enough. And that began the whole over movement that Balor did, and probably is still on, I think. But now it's finally happening, and one can only assume that he's going to be the Demon. I mean, why wouldn't you be?
Yeah.
mean,
and I think it's gonna. Sorry,
no,
but I think it's gonna be like the Demon versus the Beast. That's gonna be the big selling point, and it's just gonna be. The problem is I would care more about the whole Demon gimmick if he didn't use it for like pointless pay-per-view matches previously. Like, he would be facing a Joe Schmo and he'd still come out in that getup.
You mean like NXT?
Yeah, or like even on his main roster, and he'd just get his ass kicked. And it was like, oh, like I thought this was going to be a special occasion. I thought this was really going to do something for him. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at now, is I'm just hoping that if they give it to him, that they make use of it at least.
Well, apparently,
but he hasn't lost as a Demon, right? Not yet.
On the main roster, he hasn't. I think he lost to Joe once in NXT.
Oh, okay.
But still, he's facing Joe Schmoes.
Yeah, Samoa Joe Schmo. Yeah.
Well, last time he was the Demon, wasn't it against AJ Styles?
It was Finn Balor versus the Demon. It was a great match. Can't get.
Was it against AJ, for Christ's sake?
No, I don't think they. I don't think they did the Demon for that.
No, yes, he was.
I don't remember, dude.
No, I'm just saying that the last time he was a Demon, was it against AJ at was it TLC?
Listen, I like Balor, and you guys are probably just proving me wrong, but ever since I heard that story about Vince last year, it just gave me like a down feeling about it.
What do you mean?
Like, I lost all of the high feeling on it because it got to a point where I was like, man, they should just let him go. Like, because I thought they were just going to I thought that they were going to use him poorly. Like, following that story about Vince, I was like, I would rather him actually do something. So it's like I've almost had, like, not a sour taste in my mouth, but I'm like, don't ruin this guy, because I feel like he's not as hot as he was when he first got called up, obviously. But, like, with Vince saying he lost steam, that, like, really rubbed me the wrong way, because at the end of the day, we know that this 70-something-year-old man still has the whole call. Like, he makes the decisions. So, I mean, yeah, like, Balor, but he was just having mid-card matches at best. I mean, I went to a house show, and he wasn't really doing much of anything. In fact, he lost to McIntyre clean. I mean, it was like a job. And it just threw me off. I was like, this guy they're losing every bit of him.
Yeah, he's been floating around since he came back from injury. I mean, that killed his momentum. He was the first ever Universal Champion, so they obviously had a lot of faith in him at the time. But he came back and everything was so flat. I did fail to mention that Finn was in a promo with Vince and Cena at the beginning of the show, where Finn told Vince flat out, like, you never believed in me. So there's this new thing where everyone's getting behind Finn and they're believing in him now, and there's like this almost Daniel Bryan-like movement getting behind him. And hell, everyone got tipped off a week or two ago that Finn was in line for a big push, right? So it looks like it's happening for him. which is great.
I mean, I hope it does, but I'm just like still in that phase of remembering what Vince said, and then everything that's happened in the last year. I'm just like, oh no.
But I think obviously Vince wants him to succeed. Otherwise, why would he have him say, "Oh, you never believed in me," kind of thing?
Yeah, that's true.
He's giving him a huge match. He's on the poster. They changed the Royal Rumble poster, and he's front and center with Lesnar.
Well, shoot, there you go.
So it's probably happening for him now. Pico, you mentioned you were going to say something that led from the main event of Raw to what you were saying.
No, the thing I was going to say led to another topic we were going to talk about, but I wanted to say quickly about Finn Balor that I think it's great that we're finally getting, that deserved Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar match, because obviously everyone knows he was the first Universal Champion and he's never gotten his match. So I'm excited for it, and that's one of those things when I was like, oh, Cena's going to be in the match. Obviously, he's going to face, Brock at Rumble, but it's good to see that Finn Balor is getting that, and hopefully, and that Vince McMahon tweet where he said that, so the tweet from Vince McMahon's Twitter said that he was watching, like, that UK takeover, which we'll talk about later, and I think maybe he actually was, because maybe he saw Finn Balor on there and was like, look at this guy, like, he can do a lot more, and obviously I'm not giving him, enough that
he sees him on Raw every week. What do you mean?
Well, no, but like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe he actually saw something and he was like, you know what, let's give it to
that Jordan Devlin match, pal. Oh my God. Well, yeah. We might need to do something with Finn.
Unbelievable.
Give me a break.
Unbelievable.
You're unbelievable. All right. Speaking of unbelievable news, no, this is actually quite the opposite. The Revival have reportedly asked for their release from WWE. They are fucking fed up, and who can blame them?
It's not just the Revival, because we have breaking news that reportedly by the Pro Wrestling Sheet, Mike and Maria Kanellis have also asked for their release.
Oh,
so
man.
I didn't know that.
This is breaking news, dude. Legit, I just got a text from a friend of the show, Phil, that said Mike Kanellis is leaving WWE. Now, here's the thing about this whole thing. With the Revival, with Mike and Maria, just because they asked for their release, there's no chance in the world that they get that release. There was no... Okay, maybe there is a chance, but that would have... Like, Vince would have to be, like, really, really, like, have a good day that day and be like, you know what? No. We don't need him. Let him go. There's no possible chance that Vince is just going to say, yes, you can go. Go off and go.
Let me cut you off right there. If they're not doing anything with anybody and they see no reason not to release somebody, they do. Like, yeah. I think I'm trying to...
It's different,
find a good example here.
It's different.
It might have... No. I'm gonna have an example. I think Chavo Guerrero was one guy where he was just floating around, not doing anything, and he basically said flat out, "Look, like, you've got nothing going on for me. I just like to go." And they're like, "All right."
Yeah, but that was before AEW happened, and I know you're gonna say, "Well, there was Ring of Honor and there was TNA." Like, no, like, there's not a brand new company that just started, and now everyone's like, you know what, you're not doing anything with me. I want to leave and go do something else. I mean, I really hope that these two and the Revival, I hope they get their releases, and I hope they're able to work whenever they're able to. Because if you ask for your release, how many months after can you start working? Like, is this like, can we see the Revival and the Young Bucks, that thing?
Callahan had like a period of a few months, I think, before he was.
The standard is 90 days, no compete.
So 3 months. So
yeah, but my thing though is, I could see him keeping the Revival, but with Bennett and Maria, I could see them letting him go, because honestly, like, Bennett, you can tell, has been trying to get a push, whether it be like from his tweets, because he was getting into like arguments with other people, like saying, "Oh, I've been living my career being told I can't do something. I'm going to be champ by the end of the year or whatever, or I'm a future world champion." Puts all this stuff out there. So it's not like, and this was after AEW was already announced. So you knew that he still had aspirations to make it. So it wouldn't surprise me if he had kind of pursued with writers, creative, or whatever, getting a push, and they shot it down. And because, I mean, like I said, you could check his Twitter. He was mentioning this after AEW, and he might have just gotten fed up and said, all right, if I'm not going to get it, then what's the good of having me here?
Well, and I think it's the whole roster, the whole WWE roster, or all of the rosters rather, AEW made their heads turn. I mean, you could make the same amount of money, if not more, working in a better environment where you're allowed to have some creative freedom and you get to work with some of the best in the world. So do you think that's when AEW was announced, that's why they're asking for the release, or is it because they're just not doing anything in WWE? Or a combination of the two?
I think it's a combination of the two, because beforehand, they could have asked for the release, and okay, for Mike and Maria, they can easily go back to Ring of Honor, and it would have been fine. But I feel like with the revival, to me at least, I didn't know about them until NXT. So to me, they really didn't have a big, independent, background like Mike and Maria did. So to me, the revival, I was like, well, if they would never leave WWE because, there's nothing for them to do outside. Obviously, they can make a name for themselves outside, and I think they'd have no problem doing it. But I feel like with the Young Bucks stuff and, Cody with the FTR and all that fun stuff, I feel like
perfect.
I feel like that's the reason why they're not going to let him leave, because we can, at Double or Nothing, you can see the Young Bucks versus I don't know what they'd be called, but the Young Bucks versus the Revival, and it makes so much sense because this is something they've been doing for a year almost. So, I mean, I just don't, I hope that they get released, they ask for the release and they move on to AEW or Ring of Honor or whatever they're going to do, but I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen.
I just don't see Vince going, no, we got to keep the Revival. We're not going to lose them to AEW. I
think he's scared of what happened with Cody, honestly. I think he
I don't
feels
really think they care, to be honest.
I don't think he was upset about Cody, because it might have been Jericho's podcast I heard where Vince was upset Cody didn't reach out for him for All In, on advice. On how to run a show.
Yeah, I read about that.
So I don't think Vince would necessarily, man, look at what Cody did. We can't lose Revival. Vince thought highly of Cody, obviously, if he was upset that Cody didn't contact him about tips for All In. So, I mean, if anything, Vince might be kind of in the back of his head, he's not using the Revival, so he might be grinning man, this guy's really making moves for it.
By all means, Vince, I'll give you a grocery list and just start releasing these people, have them go to AEW, just like the Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson and the Revival, Mike and Maria Kanellis. By all means, let's sign them up and sign them up for AEW.
Like I said last week, we're probably going to see more guys leaving in droves from WWE to over there because greener pastures and all. But speaking of tag teams, the Bludgeon Brothers are reportedly set to come back from injury. So there's a tag team for you that can replace the Revival, I guess, even though I think the Bludgeon Brothers are on SmackDown.
Yeah,
no one's excited for them.
No, I like Luke Harper, but that's about it.
Yep, me too.
Speaking of SmackDown, what did you guys think of SmackDown, Luke?
I checked out Mysterio and Andrade, which that's his name now, and I think most people predicted this when he got called up that it was going to get shortened, because let's face it, his name was a train wreck, and it doesn't surprise me at all that they shortened it from Andrade Cien Almas to just Andrade, like he's a stripper or something. But he had a one-on-one match with Rey Mysterio, and I will watch anything with those two. So of course they tore it up. The second half was really, really good, dude. I mean, you guys got to check that out. Started off a little slow, but these guys need to have a Mania match. Mask versus hair seems to be the consensus amongst fans.
Shoot, did you see what Ray compared the match to?
I heard he said that someone in the locker room told him after the match that, hey, that reminds me of Eddie and you.
I mean,
and you guys did out there.
That's the best compliment Andrade could have ever gotten. Was that.
Oh, I know.
That just speaks worlds of him.
I got to see this match.
I don't want to overhype it because the first half was kind of slow, headlocks and whatnot. But the second half, it got real good. But these two, the chemistry is off the charts. They were made to wrestle each other. And Mysterio, I put over before when he came back to the Rumble in amazing shape. I don't know what the fuck happened. He's like Benjamin Button, because from 2000, I want to say 7 to 2010, he got kind of fat and he wore those Sabu pants and he was moving slower and he just didn't do anything impressive in the ring anymore. And I'm like, okay, I'll give him a break. He's aging. He's not going to be going out there like he's 20 years old. But he's 44 and he got in amazing shape and he's out there like he's 20 years old again. What the fuck? It's great. He's just, I can't put him over enough. But Yeah. Then we had Brian and AJ wrestling around in hot dogs shortly after that.
What?
A lot of people. I'm not going to bring politics into it, but AJ had a table of hot dogs laying out on the table, and he goes, "You know what? Why you got to berate the fans for eating hot dogs? Like, if you want a hot dog, by all means, eat them. Like, why you gonna bury the fans for eating hot dogs for?" And like, there was a bunch of fans around him cheering him on. He had a bunch of AJ merch. Here, have some of my merch while you're over here. Like, have a hot dog. And Brian said, "Fuck you," and came out of the crowd and beat him up. And they went through the table of hot dogs, and Brian was covered in mustard. And
was there ketchup on the hot dogs?
You know what? What is it with people on the East Coast bashing ketchup on hot dogs?
It's not the East Coast. It's Chicago. It's some people in Chicago. It's like, I don't know. It's not the Chicago dog. So.
Oh, anyway, there was ketchup and mustard. Did you guys see that by any chance?
No, but I need to see it
but
now.
now I really want to.
You're really hyping this up. I need you to like let me know what happens each week, because then you make it sound a lot more exciting than like, you know.
Yeah, I could be a good used car salesman, but and there was more food on it was a very food-worthy show, because not only were there hot dogs, but you had Otis backstage making a protein shake with tuna and milk and eggs, and even Becky Lynch came by and drank some of it, and the New Day was there. And not only that, you had fucking cake in the ring for the main event for Shane McMahon's birthday celebration, and Shane McMahon took the fucking cake and did a coast to coast with it. Graves called it a coast to cake. I think it was either Cesaro or Sheamus that came out, and lots of food on SmackDown. What the fuck?
I read that, like, because I get the notifications from the app, and I saw like Shane McMahon performs Coast to Cake, and I was like, what the hell? And like, I'm not gonna lie, at first I was just like, well, it's probably a good thing that I didn't watch this, because I don't know how I feel about it.
I fucking despise this Miz Shane McMahon tag team. It is so bad.
I don't even know what's happening, but it seems like it doesn't make sense.
It's been long, like, it's dying, and it's been dead a while, and they're just beating a dead dog.
Dude, Miz as a babyface with Shane McMahon, oh man, I love Shane, but I will not watch anything with the Miz voluntarily, and it's just, oh dude. Anyway, so that was SmackDown, very food worthy.
Trying to see if I can find the Coast to Cake, but it's obviously not that easy to find.
One thing that I want to ask you guys about is did you guys see what Rusev posted on Instagram earlier today?
And that's another guy I don't like, but go ahead. No, I didn't.
This guy has gotten so shredded. Like, he leaned out and lost so much weight. You think that's gonna do anything for him? Do you think he's gonna go for a bigger spot? I know you're not a big a fan of him, but I'm a pretty big Rusev fan. I think he's a fun character.
Well, he's got a match with Nakamura at the Rumble, I think, 1-on-1.
Yep.
That's a good high mid-card match, but I don't know, that's surprising because his physique as like this tank was, no pun intended, with the tank he came out on, 31, but I don't know, that's kind of, does he look skinnier? Because I thought his size really helped him out.
He just looks like where there was body fat, lean. And like there's more there's more definition and stuff, but like he doesn't look small or anything by any means. I mean, he just looks like, and the angle he's posing at will obviously make him look a little bit leaner than he is because he's doing that stand on the side and turn.
Yeah,
but like
everyone looks better on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, he's definitely lost some pounds, but I mean, he's still looking really good.
We spent too much time on that. So, there's an update on the Vince McMahon movie. Do you remember that? Did you hear about this? Did you read about this?
Yeah, wasn't what's his name? Bradley Cooper supposed to play Vince McMahon or something?
Yeah, and apparently that's still on the table. But
really?
they have finalized a script and sent it to Vince for his approval.
Oh God! So that means we're not going to see it for another 3 years.
It's going to be called Pandemonium because that was the famous term used in the 80s when he was starting up Mania and everything. But I thought I'd throw that in there. So, the UK TakeOver, the first ever NXT UK TakeOver took place, I think, this past Saturday? And I did not watch it. And to be honest with you, I've been kind of turned off from the whole NXT UK scene over there because I'm just not hearing. What are you guys hearing about it? I'm not hearing very favorable.
I didn't know the show was happening until people started to talk about it as it was like taking place. And I was like, oh, there's a show. Okay. And then I didn't know if it was live or it was recorded or taped or whatever.
One of my coworkers referred to it as just another indie show. That's what he thought of it.
Well, there was two big things that I got from it. Finn Balor made an appearance and, actually wrestled his protege. What was it? Jordan Devlin is his name? Or is it Devlin Jordan? Fuck.
You're telling me.
I don't know, but they look exactly the same. They're both Irish, and I think it was like teacher versus student kind of thing.
Okay.
It was. I'm looking it up right now.
I think it's Jordan Devlin.
Looking it up right now. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this match never took place. And, yeah, Jordan Devlin.
It never took place.
Well, Devlin versus Travis Banks apparently never took place, and then Finn Balor came out.
Oh, and he filled in. Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently, this was the match that Vince saw and said, you know, we need to get this guy on TV.
Yeah.
Holy cow. This Funko Pop versus Balor looks amazing. I'm no one to talk. But then you had Walter debuting, one of the biggest names on the indie scene. Great get for WWE. This guy is just one of those original kind of throwback freaks from the 30s, like almost carnival-like.
Yep. And I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, when he was in PWG and everything, like, I just saw this guy. I was like, he just seems like he's got a presence. Like, you just can't describe it. I'm like, this guy is going to be something.
Yeah, like more so than any big man that I've seen come along in a long time. Just got that real aura about him. What do you think about
his face just looks brutal.
I know.
What I mean? Like, he looks like a guy who you could just sock in the face and he'd wipe it off like it was nothing.
Yeah, he was like, he grew up like in a dungeon and like went to war and ate animals off the street kind of thing. He probably was a very privileged child. I don't know, but Pico, what do you think about Walter?
I mean, I really don't know much about him, but I hear nothing but good things about him. I've never seen him in a match, so I couldn't really tell you on that perspective. But I mean, from what I hear, he better be like a superstar in like a few years because this guy is like a ball full of electricity.
Like
I don't think I've ever heard that term before, but I like it.
If you smell, look at your tongue, look at Archer's tongue.
All right.
And that was Lorak's mom.
So, on the topic of UK, they opened a performance center over in the UK. Yeah. What do you think about that? It's like they have the. I'm sorry. We probably have 3 UK viewers that are very upset. But no, they opened a performance center over there, which is pretty smart considering they have the NXT show. It's pretty cool. Considering the Performance Center in Florida is pretty goddamn state of the art.
And Triple H made it sound like they're trying to get one in China.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of different places.
Taking us worldwide.
So, yeah. Which I'm just like, that's fine, but who are you going to get to instruct all of it, and how is this actually going to build connections? How many contracts are you actually going to be giving out? Because my thing is, like we were talking about earlier, there's just too many wrestlers that they have.
Yeah.
And it's like, are we really going to do this for different countries? Like, how many countries are going to get this?
They're trying to take over the world.
You did say cunt there, so we'll forget that. But
well, on the topic of UK wrestling, did any of you see that Nigel McGuinness documentary type thing that they had on the network?
I saw the first half of it.
Okay. This thing, if you guys...
who cares what I think?
Well, did you see it, Luke?
No.
Okay. I highly recommend it, especially if you've seen the original documentary that Nigel McGuinness did. Okay, that was basically him like hating himself because he didn't do this, he didn't do that, and he wasn't able to make it to WWE, and he always wanted to go to WWE, and he couldn't, and this was the end of his tour. So fast forward to him actually in WWE as an announcer, and this documentary is basically a part 2, but it's like, where are they now?
Yeah, I've heard that.
And it's like, it was awesome. Like, I felt so good for the guy because, it's basically, it comes full circle from that DVD. So I just wanted to mention that. And if you guys haven't seen it, then I would recommend watching it.
I still feel bad for him because you can just tell he's got.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's just still not happy about it.
Especially
And,
because
like,
Brian said
he's-
that he what's it called? Brian said he lied, and Nigel was totally honest, and that's what kind of screwed him over.
Yeah. And that, like, it's just an overall sad situation still.
Yeah, I saw the documentary. I think it came out, I want to say, was it 09, 11, around there?
No, like
10, 11?
13 or 14.
Wow. Oh, 13. Okay. Yeah, I bought it and saw it, and it was unbelievable. I remember the GoFundMe. I think I contributed to it. Not that I'm bragging, but yeah, very, very sad. The fact that he could have lied and possibly have had a successful run in WWE, we'll never know. Given their reputation of pushing English guys, Wade Barrett and British Bulldog really are as high as anyone ever got.
Yeah.
So who knows? But God, him and Daniel Bryan left Ring of Honor the same night. They were supposed to go off to greener pastures and become superstars, and Bryan did just that. But yeah, I'll have to watch that. That sounds. Hope it's not depressing though, because I remember his first documentary being kind of a letdown. He's crying in his car and everything.
Dude, it was. I don't care who you are. I watched that, and it was the real life of the wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot better than that, trust me.
Poor guy, like you said. But moving on to, we got two more topics here before we close. Speaking of freaks, not Nigel McGuinness being a freak or anything. We were talking about Walter being a freak. There's you're not a freak, Nigel. I mean, we were just talking about a freak, and we're about to talk about another freak. Lars Sullivan was set to make his debut this past Monday, as a matter of fact. That's actually, I read that Cena was at Raw specifically for that reason, and that's why he got thrown into that fatal four-way, and they had to change plans. Or was it last week? I can't remember. But Lars, I guess, had a panic attack and said, fuck it, I'm going home. And he was supposedly in line for a WrestleMania match with Cena. And the feud was set to begin, but Lars freaked out and went home. So now they're saying, I know, now they're saying that this Mania match with Cena is possibly off.
Oh man, don't do that to the poor guy. I get what they're saying and why they're saying it. Like, look, we got to build on it. We can't have you freaking out on Mania and then losing a Mania match. But it's like, this is the biggest moment of this guy's life. Of course he's going to be a little bit freaked out, and he probably just reacted a little bit differently than some other people would. And, I don't think it's something that they should punish the guy for.
No, well, I don't think they're punishing him. I think they're thinking, well, fuck, we're not going to put you out there if you can't handle the pressure. So I don't think it's anything. I don't think they're mad at him. It's just like, dude, you got to be able to handle this, or else we can't put you in this position. Pico.
Yeah, Mike.
I don't know. I mean, just give him a second chance and see. Maybe he was having a bad day, and then he got hit with that news. So I don't know. Just give him some time. I mean, I heard a lot of good things. For some reason, I thought we were talking about him when we were talking about Otis. So that kind of threw me off there real quick. But
you're getting your freaks mixed up.
Yes. So but yeah. So that I mean, I don't know. Just give him another try.
Doesn't sound like you know much about this situation.
And again, it was a rumor. Let's just hope that it wasn't true.
I think it was. I think it was reported by the Wrestling Observer newsletter. But goddamn, most guys would kill for that opportunity. Not only just to feud with Cena, but to have a Mania match with him. I mean, that's most guys would.
And he was supposed to win
sodomized
too.
with a.
Apparently, he was supposed to win.
Was he really?
Yeah, that's what people were saying.
Most guys would rather get fucking sodomized with a rusty fishing knife to get the shot at something like that, and he was just handed it. They just handed it to him. But fuck, I'd be nervous too, right?
Same.
Wouldn't you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cena. I mean, biggest stage. Grant, he's wrestled on big stages before with takeovers and stuff, but it's still just that's a different level.
I'd be nervous to meet Cena, let alone have a match with him at WrestleMania.
Well, yeah. They just signed somebody who can be Lars' replacement now. He won't be. Trevor Lee signed with WWE, former Impact. I think he won the X Division title there. I can't remember. but he was in PWG, TNA, Impact, whatever. Wrestled all around the world. Trained by the Hardy Boys. What do you guys think about Trevor Lee coming to WWE?
I think it's something that we kind of have seen coming for a while. I think that's something that he's always kind of been bound to do for the past 3 or 4 years. It's something where he's been kind of on everyone's radar ever since he got into PWG. It was like, man, this guy's good. But as time kind of grows on, what the hell? As time goes on, you just kind of wonder, like, is he actually going to fit WWE's mold? And that's kind of my thing, is like, I could see him fitting NXT's mold, but sure. I don't see him fitting main roster mold.
Well, some guys have to go through that NXT period to sort of get ready for, I mean, that goes without saying, to get ready for WWE TV, like a Matt Riddle, because he's very much a free spirit, not very corporate. So NXT kind of molds you into that corporate, be on your best behavior WWE guy. And who knows? Maybe Trevor Lee will go through. They'll put him through the ringer, and he'll come out a corporate man. But hell, they did it with Dean Ambrose. Who would ever thought John Moxley cutting promos on the streets of Cincinnati? Have you seen that shit? I mean,
oh yeah.
Who would have thought that guy would be able to be in a corporate environment and be WWE champion? So, no, my first memory of Trevor Lee was God, I can't remember which PWG show it was. It might have been 13, where he flew right over me onto the. He dove over the turnbuckle and dove right over me, and you can actually see me in the PWG preview for that, duck like a little bitch, going ah. But he flew right over me, and that was my first memory of the guy. But yeah, very talented. I'm happy for him, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, on that note, before we end the show, I would like to leave on like a little cliffhanger for next week, because it's basically, it hasn't happened yet, but the moment we end this recording, something will have happened. So basically, at some point today, I was on Twitter, and all of a sudden, Matt Jackson tweeted Angelus, then Nick Jackson tweeted Loss, and then Heyman Page tweeted In.
You love this stuff.
And Cody tweeted See ya. And so I was just like, what the heck is happening? Like, what, like I'm missing something. So then I thought they were going to announce like All In 2 or something was going to be in Los Angeles, or like the next show was going to be in Los Angeles. And then I remembered that Bar Wrestling, Joey Ryan's Bar Wrestling, which, by the way, if I'm ever in Los Angeles, you better believe I'm going there. That thing looks amazing. But basically, I remembered that SCU is going to be
SCU!
There it is going to be there tonight. And then when I saw this, I was like, well, holy cow. And then the Bar Wrestling Twitter just did the little, the little emoji. And basically something is going to happen. And if anyone remembers the last time that they appeared at Bar Wrestling, that was the whole Hangman Page and Joey Ryan thing before he killed him. So, that was like crazy. And that was kind of like, under the radar, and that no one said that was going to happen until it happened. So I'm very excited to see what happens. Maybe Joey Ryan is going to sign a contract with All Elite Wrestling tonight. I know he's signed to Lucha Underground, but I mean, are they doing anything? Once TV airs, I'm pretty sure he's cleared with that. But I just wanted to bring that up because I don't know what's going to happen, but something's going to happen, and it's probably going to happen right after we record this. So that'll be the thing that we talk about next week. So,
well,
yeah. Yes,
isn't it called Bar City Wrestling?
I'm pretty sure it's just called Bar Wrestling.
All right, I don't know where I got the city from.
As in like at a bar, and there's wrestling.
Well, now that they've got all this time on their hands, it makes all the sense in the world for the Bucks and Cody to go down there and get the promotion over, go help some of their friends out, and have a little fun, I guess, before AEW starts up. And
who knows what's going to happen there tonight? You never know. And by the way, yes, this is the stuff that I get excited for. I don't care much about, Cena facing Lars Sullivan at WrestleMania. I care about the Elite and All Elite Wrestling. And
this is just a little more exciting than that.
Yeah, for me, this is the stuff. Leading up to All In, I was all about this. So that's where we're going to leave off today.
Well, it should be... No, actually, do you remember when they filmed that bit there for Being the Elite, where it was with Hangman Page and Joey Ryan, then Cody and the Bucks were there, And God, I remember that crowd was just unbelievably hot.
I know. It seemed like it was like a PWG crowd, but like I mean, there's no seats. It's just everyone standing up in it's like a concert almost. So that's why
way too close for comfort, right? I mean,
to be honest, I that's like if I'm. I mean, I don't know, Luke. Like we can go to this when I'm in LA like soon. So
I'll be busy washing my hair.
Okay. Well,
they pack them in there like sardines, and they're all hanging on the apron. The guys can't even call spots or anything. Not that PWG guys ever did, but
I don't know.
You never know.
It looks like a lot of fun. But
let's wrap this one up.
On that note,
yeah, Ryan can't wait to leave. All right,
yeah, Ryan's got a plane to catch.
I'm fucking blown up. Like, that was so much news to get through.
Yeah, that was a lot of stuff. That's why I wanted to end it on a little cliffhanger.
About an hour long.
Was that an hour?
Yeah.
Holy tits, this might be our longest one ever.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
I hope it makes it to iTunes.
On that note,
I hope we're in your car speakers right now.
Breach, if you're listening to this right now, tweet us and let us know that you got to this point in the podcast.
I'm on my lunch.
All right, well...
I feel sorry for the guy who has to review this before publishing it on iTunes. Sorry.
On that note, thanks for listening. I'll talk to you again next week.
Bye.